Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Ghost Guide. This week's featured Digimon is Ranamon. She is a defensive type Digimon with more of a supportive nature. She is meant to be ran alongside another defense type Digimon, usually a Digimon that has the ability to solo wall the enemy team, and she acts as support for that Digimon. First and foremost, you never want to run her on a team by herself as the only defensive type Digimon because she is not near capable of doing that on her own. She doesn't have a lot of brick walling abilities. She's just there for support, and she's actually a really popular choice as a support Digimon. And we're going to go over some of her stats and weapons and fates and all that good stuff today to show you why she's actually a popular choice with a small battle segment at the end of the video. Alright, let's go ahead and get into her fates here. Where she's a defensive Digimon, most of her fates is going to increase her HP. She actually has pretty easy fates to unlock. The hardest Digimon to actually obtain on these fates would probably be the Beetlemon for the power control. Her weapon awaken is the Golden Triton. The only way that I've actually seen the Triton available is through a daily recharge event. It's actually pretty useful because she has an AoE Fury control move for her ultimate skill, and it increases the amount of targets that get their Fury reduced when you have the weapon awakened. She uses an Invincible Armor Digivice and a Tank Ring as her other two fates for her Digivice and Ring. And let's go over some of her skills now. The first thing is the Suffocating Water Dungeon. She uses a cell to deal a percentage amount of damage as well as a flat amount of damage to a single target, and this reduces the target's Fury recovery speed by 30%. Now, this doesn't actually take Fury away from the enemy Digimon, but it does make it to where they're recovering their Fury for hitting you or being hit or any of the other things that their souls are going to be enabling. It's going to reduce that amount, so it may make them take an extra turn to actually build back up to being able to cast their ultimate. We'll go through here on the Giant Swirl. This is her ultimate skill. She wields a Triton to summon 3 water tornadoes to deal a percentage amount of damage as well as a flat rate amount of damage to all enemies, and randomly decreases Fury by 200 for 3 enemies. Increases the speed of recovery for self by 50%. So on your next turn, you're actually going to be increasing the amount of Fury that Ranamon gains back, so she's going to be able to chain her ults together really well. And on the note, the 3 enemies that get their Fury reduced, that is only with the awakened weapon. Before you awaken the weapon, she's only going to be reducing 200 Fury from 2 enemies. Keep that in mind. She has Mega HP. That's like the second best HP boost. And then her passive here, this is where it really comes in to you that this is a supportive Digimon for other defense types, and you want to run a second defense type alongside with it. In battle, increases her reflect rate by a percentage depending on the level of it. If 2 or more defensive allied Digimon are in the battle, increase damage immune rate by 10% and 10% Fury recovery speed for defensive Digimon, and increase 30% damage immune rate and 30% Fury recovery speed in the first round for self. She's going to give herself the 30% damage immune rate and 30% Fury recovery. She's going to give all other defensive type Digimon on your team the 10% and the 10% Fury recovery. This is where it comes in that she's a really supportive Digimon. She's going to help your defensive type Digimon get to their ultimates a lot faster on the first turn. She's going to help get herself to ultimates a lot faster on the first turn for having that second Digimon. And one note I want to put on this skill, it says 2 or more defensive allied Digimon are in battle. She actually counts her one of those Digimon. There's a lot of confusion with translation over this because some say 2 or more allied type Digimon or 1 more and itself. But she actually counts for this ability, so she is technically her own ally. So you only need 2 defense type Digimon. I know there was a lot of confusion in the game going over, oh, she needs to be ran on a team with 3 defense type Digimon. But no, that is not true. 2 is fine. She, of course, has amp damage and damage reduction, as does everything else. we go down to her souls here. She has a Lot Battle Soul. This, of course, increases your fury every time you're hit. And, of course, every level of Lot Battle Soul is going to increase you up to a higher amount of fury that you're going to gain. Some of the best things to be working on for, if she's on your main team of 6, Metal Battle Soul is a good investment for Arena. It's going to increase her HP and make her last a lot longer in battle. Her being a frontliner and all, this is a really good Battle Soul to have unlocked. She, of course, has the Thunder Battle Soul, which is also another HP gain that's going to work in all aspects of the game. So these are 2 things that you want to work on more. I would honestly work on the Wind Battle Soul last, because the 30% Fury recovery, it kind of has its niche to where it's useful sometimes, but sometimes, especially when they already have their ultimate ready for next turn, it's not going to do anything, because yes, you're decreasing their Fury recovery, but they already have it, so who cares? Alright, some of the cool things to note on Ranamon. Ranamon, she provides a protective shell for your team on the first turn. Your defense line's going to get a lot tankier, and it's going to help increase the damage survival rate of your defense type Digimon. One of the most popular combos she's ran with at 15 potentials is Galgamon. Galgamon actually, he's really squishy before he gets his ultimate up, and by having that first turn protection, it's going to allow him to take more hits and come out with more health than what he originally would, and also pretty much guarantee without any disruption that he's going to get his ultimate off the second turn. So on a slower team, if you're playing her and she's on a slower team than your opponents, it's going to be really helpful to have her ability to protect your defense types until they can get to where they're doing their ultimates or getting something else to make them tanky, whatever kind of things they're going to be doing. Galgamon, once he's under the effects of his ult, he can solo wall for a very long amount of time, and Ranamon's just making sure that he has a good, healthy bar of health before he gets his ult off, and make sure that once he gets his ult off, he's going to have enough health to make sure you're good. Now, one of the things to note about Ranamon, she's actually one of the super defensive Digimon that are really, really easy to farm, because you actually have elite stages. You have one elite stage that's going to have her shards in it, and she's in the trial shop for 1,500 tokens. Usually, on average, if you're completing all of your digital training daily, you're getting about 3k tokens anyways, so you can usually purchase around 10 shards for her daily. As you can see, mine's currently 7 stars. She's super easy to farm and everything. The only real thing that is possibly hard to get, especially if you're free to play, buying her weapon, it actually costs money, and it's the only place that I've actually seen it currently that you can obtain it. It's not been in the chest shop sell weapon. It's not been mentioned to be anywhere else as far as I've seen in comments and messages through the guild groups and all that good stuff. So you will have to shell out $25 if you want her weapon, as far as we're seeing right now. But other than that, even if you don't get the weapon, her functionality stays the same. Yes, you're missing one more target, and your amount of fury reduction on the enemy team's going from 50% to 33% of their team, but I mean, it's still really useful, and it's still dealing damage to all the enemy teams, and it could possibly disrupt. Alright guys, now we're going into the battle. We're going to go ahead and tell you some of the things on positioning and some of the effects that's going to be going on and uses of Ranamon. Try and point some of those out in the video as well. As you can see, you see these little protective glowy things around your Ancient Mermaidmon and your Beetlemon here. That's indicating that Ranamon's passive is in effect, so she's giving them the Fury recovery as well as the damage immune rate. Now, Beetlemon's a little interesting because he doesn't really need protection on the first turn unless you're going second, because he can get under the effect of his ult, which is stackable with Ranamon's passive anyway, so it's just giving him even more damage immune rate in the first turn. The main reason Ranamon, we're pairing her with Beetlemon, is for the Fury recovery. Beetlemon actually doesn't have a Lot Battle Soul, so he doesn't gain extra Fury for being hit. she actually enables him to use his Courage Battle Soul as well as recover Fury at a decent rate to get back to his ultimate and keep chaining him. Ranamon's here. Ranamon's here in the bottom third spot on your front line. The reason for that being is she's a Fury reducer, so the farther back that you put your Fury reducers, the more useful they are at possibly negating your enemy from casting an ult on their next turn coming. So we always want to put her down here at the bottom. Even let's say she has less attack damage than the Beetlemon, so she can't use the multiplier as much for a bonus. But it's really useful to know her positioning there as the best spot, just so you can actually get the most use out of your Fury control. This team's actually got some pretty good synergy together. They got good Fury control. They got a lot of chain heals. I've possibly thought about replacing the Burning Greymon with Angemon on this team. I'm thinking about unlocking Gankumon next week. Well, not next week, next month's Bid War. And he's mainly for a 1v1er anyways. I just had him build up really big and thought he would be pretty good on the team to deal out the damage. But I'm thinking about replacing him for Angemon just so I can proc Seadramon's passive as well. And get that 15% extra ultimate damage for skill types on the first 2 turns, which Angemon and Seadramon will probably make the most use of since Tinkermon's just a healer. But yeah, it's a possibility that Angemon will be introduced here. I love Agnimon to death, but he's really just completely teched for 1v1. He probably shouldn't be in a lot of team stuff. The Tinkermon's really heavy tech for 1v1 as well, but she at least provides a heal to your allies, and she gets that percentage heal buff by Seadramon, so she's providing even bigger heals than that. And our whole goal on this team is just to keep it healthy and keep it annoying for people. As we can see, we're coming close to the end of the battle here. We've got them broke down to 2 Digimon. The Ancient Mermaidmon, she's a really good help to the team. That AoE Fury control can really just put so many upset faces on people, just by preventing the Digimon from being able to do its ult and function how it's supposed to do. And she protects your other defense type while it gets set up, and that's the main use for her, and she's really great. She's actually argued to be ran alongside 16 potential Digimon as well. Her support is so good. And she has a pretty unique support too. The AoE Fury reduction, the only thing I can think that it comes on besides her is Angemon. And him, of course, he can actually control or reduce more targets than she can. But it's at random, where she's going to guarantee you 3 Fury reductions. So it's definitely a Digimon worth investing into, especially if you're like low VIP or free-to-play player. Ranamon, Galgamon would probably be my goal as a player of that caliber. Get those 2 together. It's going to give you a solid front line, and then just work on finding your damage dealers. So that's pretty much it for the video. We got to see a little bit of Ancient Mermaidmon in action after she's built up. What kind of support she's going to provide your other defense types as well as your entire team. And as far as I know, she's probably one of the greatest support Digimon that you actually have for the defense types. Double defense teams, they are pretty common, so Ranamon is up there as a Digimon that's actually ran pretty frequently. And I suggest if you're a low VIP player, like said, you should probably build her up, give her a try. If you don't like her, hey, at least you got another Digimon for Defense Knight in the Guild Wars. But that's it for the video, guys. I appreciate you guys watching. Like, subscribe, share. We're trying to get our channel out there still. We got a new editor in, and stick around for next week's featured Digimon video.